Welcome to the Superintendent's Roundtable. I'm delighted to have with me today Kayla Werlin, who's the Director of Vocal Music at Longmeadow Public Schools. I think that many of you know that we have an outstanding vocal program, and this is the lady that is really behind the scenes making it all happen. Kayla, could you just tell me a little bit about yourself? How long have you been teaching music?
Well, I've been teaching altogether 30 years, 15 of them here in Longmeadow.
And have you always taught at the high school level?
I started out teaching elementary music. I thought that was going to be my passion. I had a wonderful experience at that in college and really was aiming in that direction. And I did it in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and loved it for a year and a half, and I hit a wall. I thought if I had to teach 5 Little Freckle Frogs one more time, I was going to go crazy, and I really missed the Mozart and the Brahms, and so I made the transition, took a job teaching high school at Tantascwa in Sturbridge, and I found my home.
Oh, that's wonderful. We're very, very fortunate that you did make that change. I'm always curious how a high school choral director manages to get the group together in the size. When I look at lyrics or I look at your other groups, you have many, many students involved in music. How do you get them engaged and how do you get them committed? Because it's a lot of time and practice.
Well, it doesn't start at the high school, as you well know. These students are getting fabulous musical experiences starting at the elementary school level. They're getting excited about it. They are learning so much from my colleagues, the general music teachers, the instrumental music teachers at the elementary schools and the middle schools. So when they come to high school, they've had such positive experiences that many of them want to continue. Our job is to make it possible for them to do that and make it rewarding for them to do that.
That's great. I know that when you talk about a vision for a school district or any of our desire to help students, always giving them passion and hoping that we leave them with the love of learning and they take that passion with them. And I see that in music. And you're very gracious to commend the elementary and middle school teachers because they play a role, but it's an art to make sure that we're keeping them engaged in the high school as well. So when you're planning for a concert, there are always a variety of selections. How do you go about making up an arrangement for what the evening might look like?
Well, the first rule for me, I'm going to be a little bit selfish and say I have to love the music. I have to find music that I just fall in love with. And then I know I can do a good job of teaching it to the students. Then I'm looking at giving them a variety of experiences, both in terms of the artistic palette, but also in terms of the intellectual challenge for them. What are they going to learn as a result of doing this particular piece of music that's going to take them to another place musically, whether they be our most advanced musicians who truly are pre-professional or our more basic kids that don't have as strong a background and probably won't go on seriously in music, but really deserve to learn some skills as well as have a great time.
Excellent. And when the seasons come, are there certain songs that go with the seasons, or is it just really open as to what you choose?
We make it a point in this community not to focus on particular holidays. We don't do the standard Christmas concert. We don't do things that are really holiday aligned, but you do look at seasons. We're doing, for example, in preparation for our winter concert in a couple of weeks, December 21st, one of the pieces that Lyrics will sing is called Hiver. It's in French by Debussy, and it talks about the intensity of winter and all that we have to bear with to go through the bitterness of winter.
Vous
So we do think about seasonal music, although not specific to holidays.
Okay. I think that's probably well respected because we have such a diverse community.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really wonderful to have music that everyone can enjoy when they come to the concert. I noticed at the concert a few weeks ago that you had young men in one section and then you had your women. Could you talk a little bit about that and how that model works and why it's been set up that way?
That was a philosophical decision that was made years before I got to the high school. I'm not exactly sure about the origins. I know that my immediate predecessor, Peter Thompson, was really enthusiastic about separating male and female vocalists, at least at the initial stages. The students are going through such very different physical issues as singers. The male voice change is much more significant than the female voice change, and we feel that if we have them separately, we can help them to address those issues. We're lucky enough to have a female teacher and a male teacher in our program. I feel comfortable working with male voices, but David Fonts does a great job with our young men, giving them some of the skills that will help them to feel more comfortable about their singing. It can be awkward for the teenage boys as they go through that vocal transition. Their voice feels very different. They don't have the same level of control over it. So to have a separate place where they can work on those vocal issues seems to be very effective. Then when they get into our advanced level group lyrics, they already have some of that foundation. So when they're singing in a group with young women as well, we don't need to focus quite as much on those foundational skills.
Well, I find that fascinating because in many districts you see that the males, the young men, have dropped out of chorus, and I think it's often because as their voices change, there's not a safe place or there's not instruction on how you deal with that, and that's always a shame. But I was delighted to see the groups come together, how many young men and young women were actually singing, and the music was just extraordinary. for the girls, what's different about training the females or the young ladies to sing in the choir?
They go through a vocal change as well. People don't think of girls' voices as changing, but they really do change. It's just not as abrupt. It's not as obvious. So, and for them, I find that there's an element of the personality that comes into play. Girls can be a little more self-conscious, and that has an impact physically. If you're not singing with energy because you're not confident in who you are as a person, then you're not going to get a good sound vocally. So part of what I work on with the young women in the groups is singing with confidence, feeling very comfortable with who you are and what your sound is and what you can do with your voice.
They appear to be very confident when one comes to a concert.
Sister, my sister, hold me, carry me home and just let me be. Slow this breath and lay to rest, ever and ever hold
I should say to the audience, you're more than welcome to come when there are concerts. They are advertised in the newspaper, or they'll be on our website, but it's really a wonderful night out. Another thing for our audience to know is that Lyrics won the Vocal Group of the Year in the United States. Is that not the national award? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
We're very proud. They won the American Prize last year. The American Prize is a series of prizes that's offered to instrumental groups, vocal groups, solo performers, pianists, vocalists, conductors, all over the United States and at all levels, from young people to professional. And Lyrics was the second Longmeadow group to win. In 2010, our symphony orchestra was the winning group for orchestras at the high school level in the United States. And then in 2011, Lyrics, along with another group, a symphony-related group from Pittsburgh, were the co-winners of the high school choral group, the American Prize.
That's fabulous. We're so proud of our students and teachers. Before we began this session, you're telling me that you and your husband work with a choral group in Springfield. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
We do. It's called the Children's Chorus of Springfield. My husband, as many in the community know, is also a choral conductor. His name is Wayne Abercrombie, and he was, for many years, the choral director at UMass. He retired 4 years ago, I think it was, and he and a colleague decided to form a children's chorus. Vera Baker is his colleague, and she had been the director of fine arts in the Springfield Public Schools, and they retired at around the same time. And they had had a vision for a chorus that would provide children in Springfield some of the opportunities that, for example, the kids in our schools get. Many of the schools in Springfield don't give the kids an opportunity to sing in a chorus. Some of them don't even have music classes. And with the increased emphasis on MCAS proficiency, they've been chipping away at that time that music might be offered. So they decided to form this Children's Chorus of Springfield, and it's only open to children in Springfield.
That's wonderful. And how old are the children?
They range from 3rd grade to 9th grade.
Oh, that's wonderful. Do you see from our own graduates a number of students going on to major in music in college?
We do. The statistics tell us that 2% of students that participate in music in high school will go on. I think if we looked at it, which we have not done, we would find something more than that. We have students that have gone on in a lot of different ways. We have students that are teaching music. We have students that are performing with orchestras. Many in the community know that our alum Megan Fahey performed on Broadway. It was very thrilling to see her in a starring role on Broadway from the audience. We have students that are interested in music therapy. Music technology is becoming more of an interest for our students. So we are seeing a fair number go on. It's important to us, though, that our music program not specifically be a pre-professional program, that it provide those preparatory experiences for the students who want to go on, but that it also be a place where anyone can enjoy the experience of making music at this level.
And they do. They just sound so beautiful. At the last concert, I said to Larry Birdie, they sounded like angels. They really did. And I have my own personal experience with music, which you well know. Last year, students were raising money to go to Italy. And so what they would do is, if you made a donation, they would sing for someone. So I made a donation, and 4 of the students came down and sang for my mother for her birthday. My mother cried, my assistant cried, the assistant superintendent cried, because they were so beautiful. They sang Amazing Grace, which is her favorite song, but when you talk about passion and the ability for them to come together, and it was better than any professional singing the song for her. So I do see the talent, and it is a passion that they have and they carry with them. So,
well, isn't this what high school is all about? High school is a time when students are trying to figure out who they are now and who they're going to be. They're starting to ask those questions, what's my place in the world? They see role models, they see teachers, doctors, people in the business world that they interact with, and they're starting to really ask themselves, well, where am I in all this? And if they're finding passion, that's going to help direct them. It may not be to become a musician, but it may be to work at Mass Mutual and sing in the Springfield Symphony Chorus. to me, that could be a very happy life for someone. And we do know
Absolutely.
people that go on and do that. So you're right. And when you recognize the passion, I think that's such an important part of the high school experience, is finding what it is about yourself that makes you unique, that will bring you forward to the next place in your life.
Absolutely. And I think music's a safe place for them as well. High school can be so stressful in terms of what college am I going to go to, how am I doing on the tests. So it's nice that they have a space where they can just love what they're doing every minute. Well, I would like to thank Kayla Werlin for coming to be our guest today. I hope that you enjoyed this session of the Roundtable, and we look forward to seeing you at another chapter.